even though I still get overwhelmed, I see it in other people how I used to be really overwhelmed. So when overwhelm happens, I want to dissect and look at how we can approach that. And the best way to do that is as a group and speaking through discussion. And the outcome will be that you'll be more relaxed. That's a given. I'm going to relax you. And if you don't want to be relaxed, then just don't listen to my voice when I'm going through the relaxation technique that I'm going to use. But I want that to lead to people do better when they feel better. And if you're feeling more relaxed, then we can have a good discussion. And from a place of relaxation, we can look at overwhelm rather than be in overwhelm and look at relaxation. That's weird, that just come to my head. That's quite a good thing. And we talk about a light bulb moment, an insight, an aha moment. And wouldn't it be great if we actually had that about overwhelm? And I think I'll talk about it later on. It isn't a one-stop shop for overwhelm. You know, you can move from one overwhelm to another if you practice it enough. You can move from one overwhelm to another if you listen to your conditioned personal thinking. What are we waiting for? What are we actually waiting for? Are we waiting for something to tell us life begins now? The overwhelm will be gone. The only way the overwhelm will be gone is if we do something about it. I want to say this right now. Now is the time to trust. You know, we're coming out, we're talking about re-entry into the world. Now is the time to trust. Now is the time to love. Now is the time to appreciate. Now is the time to care. And now is the time to create. To give, to be helpful, to get involved, to be joyful, to forgive, to relax, to be alive, to connect. For me, this is to have aliveness. And for a person that was stuck for years in catastrophic thinking, I can tell you, I don't care how the quality of your thinking, don't rely on it unless it comes from a good feeling. Don't rely on it. And I don't know what comedian talked about this, but we have a word for overwhelmed. We sort of know what it means. And we have a word for underwhelmed. But nobody ever says they're whelmed, do they? So that's probably why we can't find it. You know, that quiet mind, that space, that everything just is in the flow. There is no word for that. So maybe our language there is all about drama. I looked at the meaning for overwhelmed. Overwhelmed happens when you think that you need to figure out everything all at once. You don't. And if I was going to give a word to whelmed, I would give the word truth. The truth of the matter is that you can't figure everything all at once. And that's when we talk about present moment. We talk about responsive intelligence in the moment. You will deal with whatever comes your way in that moment. That's it. And we can talk about anxiety and all this sort of stuff, thinking about the future or reminiscing about the past. But actually in the moment is the only time that you can be whelmed. It's the only time that's true. Them elusive chemicals that keep us happy. And maybe we'll understand why we feel a bit more overwhelmed in the lockdown. Because even I'm actually now, as it gets closer, I think it's, you know, that I feel like I'm running on a rug, like on them cartoons, and the rug just keeps slipping from under me, and I can't get out the front door. I went out for a walk with a handsome gentleman today called Mark, and that felt like a day out. That's Mark Brereton. Yeah, I just want let's see what you think about this. We're going to go on to we're going to have some discussion, but I want to give you this before we go on to that, into questions and answers or whatever. And I've got some quotes and good stuff, but let's get some discussion about this. I want to know your thoughts. So I want to talk about the chemical dopamine, and if there's any experts in the room, please speak up once I've finished. Or dopamine is the reward chemical, and we get that by completing a task. We get that by doing self-care activities. This is a tricky one. We do that by eating food. And we do that by celebrating little wins. So the way I look at that is, if we are using food to give us dopamine, giving us that reward, and we have some form of habit around food, maybe there's other things we should be looking at. Maybe there's creating other things like task completion, creating other things to work on. Doing self-care activities has got to be a winner in that one. Everybody can do that and release dopamine. Doing self-care activities. So if you're choosing something that is over, and I need to say this as well, because I know this from fact, that food lowers the quality of your thinking. It lowers the quality of your mood. It lowers the quality of your decision making. We'll come on to serotonin in a minute. We'll talk about serotonin when we come on to that. I'm just going to say it now because it makes sense with what I'm talking about, the dopamine. Your gut health actually is where your serotonin, and people can question this, I'm only going on what I've read, but it makes sense to me. It's always been that way. The serotonin that you release doesn't come in from your brain, it comes from your gut health. So if you're not eating really well, like keto lifestyle, all the things, not dropping back to all the habits that we fall into, mine used to be chocolate, then you're gonna get a double whammy there from your food. You're gonna get dopamine hit, and you're gonna get a serotonin hit. So talking about serotonin, that's called the mood stabilizer, and you get that from meditating. Now we just meditated. How long was that? 3 minutes? 4 minutes? I don't even know if it was that long. We just meditated with a song and a relaxation. I don't meditate anymore. I just have a quiet mind as best I can. And when I don't, that's when things go pear-shaped. That's when the thinking builds up. But if meditation's your thing, to get to your quiet mind, then that's what you need to do. But it is as simple as just sitting quietly and not thinking about anything. I'm famous for saying just do nothing for 10 minutes or half an hour and your quality of your life will get better. The overwhelm will be easier to cope with. I'm not so happy about this one. Running is good for your serotonin, so all use runners. I use cycling. Running's damaged my body, so it's down to cycling now. This is a good one today. Sunshine. Serotonin, sunshine. Don't ignore the fact. You look in, if the sun is shining. Now link this to all the lockdown stuff we've had and whether we feel overwhelmed or not, or we've distracted ourselves with food or drink or self-medication of whatever type. Cut yourself some slack here. We've been through a hard time. And that's without talking about your circumstances, and that's without talking about your thinking around your circumstances. So yeah, gut health is very important with the serotonin. Walk in nature, how hard is that? Well, it was hard. Walk in nature. I did that today. I walked through some woods today and it actually completely transformed my state. And I talk about thinking as the ultimate go-to to drop that and just go into your feeling state. But there is something about nature. There is something about seeing nature, whatever it is, wherever you switch to, whether it's water, trees, fields, animals, bird song, whatever. I was walking today through a part of Kettering I don't normally go to, where somewhere about 8 miles from where I live, and it triggered a memory in me. I was looking at this building that was just an old farm building, and I remember as a child walking through them woods, which is quite far from my house for a child to walk. And I remembered this outbuilding, and I just said to Mark, "Is that I've been through that, past that 10 times, and I've not noticed it before," and it triggered that memory for me, and it came with a good feeling. And that just makes you feel better about life, and it just makes you feel less overwhelmed and more whelmed. I'm going to keep using that. Swimming. I think we can't go swimming yet. Can we go swimming outside yet? I think the outside pools are open, aren't they? Yeah. Swimming. I would do that. Peterborough. Cycling. Yes, I got in there at the end. Cycling's good for you. Exercise is good for you. Walking in nature is by far the easiest thing to do out of that. Oxytocin. We all know about oxytocin, the love hormone. Playing with a dog. Mark's got 2. Playing with a dog, playing with a baby, holding hands, hugging your family, and giving a compliment. No wonder we've struggled in the lockdown. I just realised that holding hands, or even shaking hands, or this elbow bump, and my sister came round to the front door the other day, and when you can't hug someone, that's when you recognise the impact of oxytocin, when you can't do something. So, to the best you can do with oxytocin, do as much as that as you can. And I can't see the twins either till Wednesday. They've been on lockdown, isolation, I should say. And this one, this is quite relevant as well. Endorphins, and that's the painkiller. The painkiller. And guess what? Laughter and exercise. And when I talk about getting out of my own way and not taking myself too seriously, and I don't care what people think about what I think, that allows you to have more laughter in your life. I don't mean happy, clappy laughter. I mean genuine laughter that takes you away from any overwhelm. Essential oils. Essential oils. And that's true. That's true. Watch a comedy. Dark chocolate. Yay. We're in. That's all we have to do. Dark chocolate. Again, exercising. Oh, and Monday nights. Oh, I must have wrote that. I must have wrote that one.